Hello and welcome to the Vinyl Sanctuary. My name is Christian and I hope that you will join me in taking refuge in records. So I'm here today with a response to a thread that Midge over at Midge's Vinyl Gems has started, and he's done it to celebrate the fact that he's now been in the VC for one whole year. So I wish to extend my sincerest congratulations to Midge. He's an absolutely brilliant guy. Had the pleasure of getting to know him a bit over the course of the year, and he's a wonderful addition to the VC. So if you haven't checked out Midge's channel, please do so. Midge's Vinyl Gems. He's the guy in the hat that likes to talk about records, and I will pop a link to Midge's channel in the description box to this video, and I will also pop in there as well a link to the video that Midge created where he's talking about his first year in the VC, and also he has commenced this thread that I'm about to tackle now. So you might be wondering why why I'm wearing this particular piece of headwear today. Well, it's actually in tribute to Midge. As I just mentioned, Midge is the guy in the hat who likes to talk about records, and he has got an awesome assortment of headwear. Sadly, I haven't. This hat here is as basic and as functional as it gets, but it does keep the old head warm when the weather plummets, and I do like to wear it when I'm going out and about for walks and stuff like that. So I thought I'd make an effort. I wanted to wear something on my head to celebrate Midge and his year in the VC. So this is my choice of attire in that regard. Okay, so we're going to get into it then. So what Midge wanted people to do was to choose 5 albums that feature on the front cover, a people, or a person, whoever it happens to be, wearing some form of hat or headwear. So I have chosen 5, but what I've decided to do, just to kind of test myself a little bit, it wasn't a requirement of Midge's instructions, but I just decided to do it anyway, is I've chosen 5 albums that are all from the 1990s. So we'll get into it, and again, please do check out Midge. He is, a brilliant guy who I've got a lot of time and respect for, and I think this is a really excellent thread that he's come up with. So please do go and check out what he's been up to over the course of the year, and I'm sure there'll be some great videos to come as well with that immense musical brain of his, and he has a great way of combining his knowledge with a lot of warmth and humour as well. Okay, so I've put these albums in chronological order. So this one came out in 1990 to get us started, and I am kicking off today with Belly Button by Jellyfish. So just take this out of the wrapper here, the cover, so we can see there very clearly. That's Andy Sturmer there at the front in that very fetching stripy top hat. And this is an original pressing, this one. Jellyfish are arguably, the premier purveyors of power pop. So if anybody out there does agree with that sentiment, then please do let me know. This is an absolutely amazing album, by the way. Very, very tuneful. An album that I've had in the collection for many, many years now. And I actually feel really fortunate that I was able to pick up an original copy. So I got this on a market years and years ago in Warrington. And I think I paid about £7 or £8 for it. But this was well over 20 years ago, something like that. And it was worth every penny. It sounds fantastic. It's beautifully produced. And it's just got just a lovely flow to it. Every song on it is worth your time and attention. Just show you the inner there as well. There's a bit of belly button there. And then you've got all your lyrics and everything else on the back. So yeah, it is a really superb album if anybody is not maybe familiar with it. So it's taken its cues, I would say, from a lot of 1970s influences. I mean, there's all kinds going on here, but I hear a lot of, the likes of Badfinger on here, ELO, Cheap Trick, sort of a lot of power pop from the 70s, but also a bit of soft rock in there as well. There's parts of it that remind me of Todd Rundgren. There's some jingly jangly passages in there as well. So it really is a very satisfying sonic blend is what I would say, and it does sound brilliant throughout. My absolute favourite song on here is I Want to Stay Home, which is such a brilliant song. It's got a very Beatlesy sort of a melody to that one. It sort of feels like something I could imagine Paul McCartney having written in his Wings era, to be honest. But I love I Want to Stay Home, but it's great all the way through. The King is Half Undressed is superb as well. And what else do I like on here? Yeah, Baby's Coming Back towards the end is a really jaunty number as well. So please do check out Belly Button by Jellyfish. Okay, so let's pop that away. That's it. Okay, so coming up next, I've chosen a compilation album by one of my all-time favourite bands. So this came out in 1992, and we have got here the Stone Roses with Turns Into Stone. And we've met Midge's criteria with the fact that we've got Rennie there wearing that bucket hat. Rennie always had some headgear on of one form or another, almost always a bucket hat, but usually covered in John Squire's paints. You know, his Pollock-inspired artwork would usually adorn Rennie's headwear, but yeah, he's got a plain white hat there. And as we can see, they're stood behind like what looks like a pane of glass with a load of, again, Pollock-inspired splatter and squiggle on there. A bit of action painting. So we've got Ian Brown here at vocals, John Squire, of course, on guitar, and then we've got the late great Manny as well there on bass guitar. What an awesome talent Manny was. And then Rennie, arguably one of the greatest drummers of his generation, or any for that matter. Okay, so yeah, this one again, because it's a compilation, it really is all killer no filler, this one. This is a reissue, this one, 180 gram pressing, so not an original 1992 pressing, which would imagine would go for a few quid. But it is just such a great follow-up. Although it's a compilation, you know, it was released in between the Stone Roses debut coming out in 1989, a landmark album, and then Second Coming coming out, I think it was like 95 in the mid-90s. So this came out and I suppose kept the Stone Roses fans satisfied until that eagerly anticipated second album was finally ready to land. But yeah, everything on here, I mean, side one is just outstanding. Elephant Stone to kick off is amazing. I've always loved Mercy Paradise, got a real jingle jangle to that one. Where Angels Play is absolutely gorgeous, one of my favourite ever Stone Roses songs. And then we've got some kind of funkier stuff going on side two. We've got the full 9 minutes plus version of Fool's Gold on here, which has just got an immense groove to it. Lots of great wah-wah guitar going on by John Squire. What the World Is Waiting For, again, is one of my all-time favourite Stone Roses songs. That appeared on the Fool's Gold single as well. And then One Love and Something's Burning to finish. So yeah, please do get your hands on that one if you're after some brilliant Manchester psychedelic rock with some real funk influence going on there as well, and some Birdsey and Jingle Jangle. Ian Brown's voice throughout sounds great, as do Rennie's backing vocals, you know, the harmonies. Superb record. Turns Into Stone by the Stone Roses. Okay, so number 3. Came out in 1993. This was an album that apparently only lost out by a single vote to Suede's debut album, self-titled album, in the Mercury Music Prize. And that was the no, I was going to say it was the first, but it wasn't. It wasn't the first Mercury Music Prize. That would have been, I think, the year when Screamadelica by Primal Scream won. So I'm just correcting myself there in the moment. But this album came out in 1993, and it's a superb record. We've got Luke Haynes, the leader of this band, on the front cover. So we've got the auteurs here with New Wave. So I'll just take this out here. So as you can see here, Mr. Haynes is going for a matinee idol look. Certainly very influenced by Rudolph Valentino, iconic film star of the early part of the 20th century. And yeah, you can see he's got, you know, the headscarf going on there, and the little pencil moustache as well. So if you see Luke Haynes typically in photographs, he's never quite looked like that again. That really is quite some pose. And if you were not aware that it was Luke Haynes actually on the front cover, you would be, you know, you'd be forgiven for mistaking the fact that it is indeed him. But yeah, it's a great album, this one. It's got a lot of influences, I would say, from the likes of the Kinks. It reminds me of T-Rex in places, certainly on the track Bailed Out. There's a little bit of Bowie, a little bit of glam in there, I would say, as well. But for me, it's quite straight up singer-songwriter, very acerbic lyrics as well. You know, Luke Haynes definitely has a way with words. And what I love about this album in particular is that, for me, it continues to actually improve as it goes along. So it starts out very strongly with the opening track, Showgirl, which has got quite a whimsical feel to it. But as the record progresses, I feel anyway that it starts to get darker in terms of its subject matter, and the way in which the music very slowly starts to get a little heavier. and it just really feels like you're on a journey with this record. So by the time you get to Home Again, which is the closing track, which is pretty much just Luke Haynes accompanying himself with an acoustic guitar. There's a little bit of arrangement here and there as well, but that is a superb story. That one, very compelling, about being inside somebody's house uninvited and rifling through their stuff. So quite an arresting song lyrically. This is an original pressing, this one, so I'll just show you very quickly. We've got the lyric sheet intact here. Joining Luke Haynes on this album, you've got Alice Reedman on bass, Glenn Collins on drums, and then you've got James Banbury on cello as well. And for anybody who's ever read Luke Haynes' brilliant book, Bad Vibes, he only refers to James Banbury as the cellist throughout that entire book. My copy here as well does have a 7-inch with it, little bonus 7-inch. This is a really great track, this one. It's got She Might Take a Train on there, which is really good. And I'm trying to think what the B-side was on that as well. I think the other track on it might be They Can't Find Me, or I can't remember the name of it. It's not actually written there on the back. But what I remember loving about that song in particular is that it really starts to point towards the sound that the auteurs would go on to exploring in huge detail on their follow-up record, which is called Now I'm a Cowboy, which came out in 1994, if memory serves me correctly. So yeah, really good album that. So also, if you're into the likes of, almost like in places here as well, it reminds me a bit of the Go-Betweens as well. The Only Ones comes to mind. Pete Parrott's sort of more gentler passages with his music and the stuff that he's put out over the years. Then do give Luke Haynes and the auteurs a try. He is a singular talent. For me, one of my favourite ever songwriters. I think he's one of Britain's best. And as I mentioned earlier, certainly got away with words, and always coming up with very interesting subject matter for his songs as well. Okay. Right, so now we're up to album number 4. This for me is one of my all-time favourite albums. I've been obsessed with it ever since it came out. In fact, the last 2 albums I'm going to show here are all-time favourites. But this one takes me right back to high school. As I said, it just completely floored me when it came out, as it did a lot of my friends as well. And we continue to be just in complete adoration of this band and this album in particular ever since it was released. So we've got here Different Class by Pulp, came out in 1995, and this one actually did win the Mercury Music Prize, come to think of it. Just talking about it a little earlier there with the auteurs missing out to Suede. This in fact did win the year that it came out in 95. We can see the headwear represented here, obviously with the bridal veil, and then we've got a member of the wedding party wearing a hat there as well. So yeah, this one's a repressing, this one, not an original, but just an awesome album. It truly is. A Britpop classic. For me, quite possibly even the best Britpop album of them all. I think it's aged incredibly well. It takes its cues, its influences from a lot of 1970s art rock and a lot of glam. I hear a lot of that in there. But again, one could argue that in terms of the lyricism and the topics that Jarvis Cocker explores on the record, you could make comparisons maybe to the Kinks, certainly with a track like the class anthem, Common People, which is track number 3. Incredible song. Got to number 2 here in the UK charts. Misshapes is an absolutely astounding opener as well. That's a real call to action, that one. Talking about the should we say, people in society that maybe get overlooked for one reason or another, or maybe not respected in the way that they should, just for being different. So that's like a real sort of, rallying cry, that song. I Spy is incredible as well. Love that one. Disco 2000, of course, is superb. Absolutely love Something Change, which starts side 2 off. Got a real sort of a Scott Walker vibe to that one, with some lovely strings on it and a great vocal performance by Jarvis. Sorted Freeze and Whiz as well, of course, is brilliant. Underwear as well is brilliant. Got some great guitar work on that throughout. Just some really nice riffing going on. But yeah, every track on there is essential. So please do check out Different Class by Pulp if you're not aware of it, or maybe if you've not played it in a while. Hopefully my showing it here will inspire you to go back and give it a spin. Or if you've got it on CD, you can put it on the old CD or cassette, whatever format you've got it on. Please do give it a spin. It's always worth your time and attention. Okay, so finishing us off then on this thread, came out in 1997. Brilliant album. A band who formed not far at all from where I am, from where I grew up. They formed in a town called Wigan in the northwest of England. We have got here The Verve with Urban Hymns. And there's lead singer Richard Ashcroft there. He's got like a bucket hat on as well there by the looks of it, similar to Rennie a little earlier on the Stone Roses album. Yeah, what a great record. Kicks off with Bittersweet Symphony, which is one of my favourite ever opening tracks on any album ever. Sonnet is beautiful as well, The Rolling People. You got the massive anthem The Drugs Don't Work on here as well, which was a huge hit for the band, as was Bittersweet Symphony. Neon Wilderness, I love all these songs. Lucky Man, great memories of learning to play that on the guitar back in the day when I was first learning how to play in my teens. That was one of the first songs that I mastered to play, just strumming those chords, but just a lovely melody. Always takes you back to that time. And then you've got Velvet Morning as well on here, Come On to Close. So this is another repress, this one. It's been pressed over 2 records. Got a really great photograph of the group here. I've always loved this picture. So good. So you've got Richard Ashcroft here. Pete Salisbury, where are you, on the drums? There's Pete. Nick McCabe, of course, just a wizard on the guitar. There's Nick McCabe. Simon Tong on guitar, keyboards as well as Simon Tong. And then we got Simon Jones there on the bass as well. So yeah, just love this album. Got pretty obsessed with it actually, to be fair, at the time when it landed. I think I was just the perfect age for it. I was 15 when it came out. Bought it as soon as it was out, really. The vibe around the group, especially from the part of the world where I'm from. Everybody wanted to see these guys doing well, and they certainly did. Richard Ashcroft proved himself to be an immense vocalist, a great songwriter, someone with great staying power, and he's continued to put out fantastic material over the course of his career. And he's also brilliant live as well. I've had the pleasure of watching Richard Ashcroft solo many times. Only saw the Verve once when they reformed, but it was a very special experience for me because I didn't see them during their original run, but I did see them during that brief reunion they did. Okay, so that's me all done and dusted. So I really enjoyed doing that. Thank you very much, everybody, for tuning in. And as I mentioned at the start of the video, please do go and check out Midge at Midge's Vinyl Gems. And please do give the other videos a watch as well, all the other members of the VC who've put their entry forward for the hats thread. So until next time, take care of each other, take care of yourselves, and bye for now.